Not on the Judiciary Committee, but as a sitting senator, we want to have you on to get, and one who's also in an election race, have you on to, first of all, get your thoughts on how the nomination process is going so far. And secondly, is this issue, is the nomination playing at all into your reelection race?
Well, I think the hearings actually are going very well. I think the questioning has been, by and large, very respectful. I would say in certain instances, several senators have taken the time to sort of politicize and get on a soapbox for one reason or another. But I think, by and large, we're getting to see a very level-headed, intelligent judge now, and I hope a Supreme Court justice. I think she has answered questions truthfully and to the point. And I appreciate, too, the fact in a land where people talk a lot, that she's very succinct in her answers and doesn't meander and wander. And so you're not really sure how she's answering the questions. She's been very specific when she can be, and I appreciate that very much.
Are you getting any pushback from voters or reaction from voters on her nomination? Any concern over issues like abortion or the ACA? Or
the voters here in West Virginia want to see Justice Barrett confirmed. They believe, and as I believe, that we need a Supreme Court that adheres to the Constitution and that doesn't try to make policies. In terms of the ACA, I think that is being used as sort of a straw dog in terms of the politicization of this. I think she has very succinctly said that she would be impartial and would look at that impartially. I was interested in the clip you played earlier with Senator Capito. I think that was very as revealing probably as we're going to get. But generally speaking, West Virginians are very supportive of what we're doing.
What do you hope comes out of all this, specifically on the ACA? A case coming up November 10th, a very important case on that whether it's in a next Trump administration or Biden administration. What do you hope the next step is on health care?
Well, I think we've got to get better here. I mean, we see premiums going up. We see the deductibles going up. People aren't paying their deductibles. So we see our healthcare organizations, our hospitals and medical providers having to, more debt because people aren't paying their bills because of the high prices. That's a big problem. And that's the problem we're trying to solve in terms of affordability and accessibility. In terms of whether the individual mandate would be severable in terms of a Supreme Court case, I think I believe that in the end the Supreme Court will judge that it is a severability issue, and that then we should move on to improving, I think, the ACA and making it more affordable. This is what we should be talking about, making the policies in that direction, rather than trying to construe what somebody may make a judgment on 5 or 6 months from now.
Shelley Moore Capito finishing up her first term, first elected to the Senate in 2014 after 7 terms in the U.S. House, running against the Democrat in West Virginia, Paula Jean Swearengin. Senator Capito, let me ask you about a poll by the Metro News West Virginia polls. The headline says, split on state's direction. Most say nation is on the wrong track. Their poll, 58% of West Virginia likely voters think the nation is on the wrong track and 33% on the right track. And your own polling on your race, you're comfortably in the lead in your race. But how do you kind of rectify those two differences? And what do you think? Why do you think your fellow West Virginians have a dim view of the track that the U.S. is on?
Well, I think right now we found ourselves in the middle of a pandemic. It's creating a lot of anxiety in the voter and in neighborhoods all around. Can your children go to school? What kind of learning is occurring? Can I get telehealth? All of these everyday issues, I think, are making people wonder why in Washington we cannot pass this ongoing CARES package. We've been trying to do this. We're going to try to do it again next week. And I hope the Democrats will join in, because this is where small businesses and restaurants and employers and healthcare providers, this is where their minds are right now. It's not on who's going to score political points. And that's why I think you see the uncertainty of the direction of the country, because people tend to think not in terms of 5 and 10 years, like we would like to say in terms of economically and the improvements that we've made in the economy pre-pandemic. They're thinking in terms of the next 5 and 6 and 7 months in terms of education and health of their parents and things that really hit them in their heart and in their pocketbook.
West Virginia, notably early on in the pandemic, and the president touted this, and your governor Jim Justice touted this, that West Virginia for a stretch had no COVID cases. That obviously ended. How are things now in West Virginia in terms of the cases and in terms of the economy and people's participation in things like social distancing and mask wearing?
I'm really proud of the way West Virginians have faced this pandemic. We're rule followers basically here in West Virginia. Our governor has been a great leader, Governor Justice, in terms of lining out his expectations and when and how he's going to close bars or schools are going to reopen. And so I think that's given West Virginians a good roadmap to know that if you do wear the mask, social distance, and practice good health care for yourself to kind of contain the spread, we're going to be able to fully open and we're going to be able to get our schools open. Now, we have had stops and starts. And when that happens, we contract in terms of what we're going to do, in terms of whether certain indoor dining might be open or bars or other things of that nature. So I think we're paying close attention to what our state governor is saying. And I think it's panned out well for us. When we spike, we pull back in and practice. But people are wearing masks everywhere. That is a mandate that we're all adhering to.
One more thing, and back to Senate, the Senate agenda. The headline in the Wall Street Journal: Senate will vote on a narrow relief bill. The majority leader said the Senate would vote on a narrow coronavirus relief bill next week, setting up a potential showdown with Democrats who have pushed for an agreement on a broader package. What do you think West Virginia needs, and what's your view of this whole back and forth between Leader Pelosi, the White House, and your leader?
Well, I think that we need to go where we have great agreement. And certainly small businesses, restaurants, theaters, hotels, gyms, others have not been able to fully reopen and are not back to where they were. We know that. All of Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter. We can extend the PPP program by using funds that are already there and make sure that those businesses that are still struggling can keep their heads above water. To me, that makes great common sense. And I, for the life of me, can't see why we couldn't join together now, because the intensity of the cry for help is definitely getting louder here in West Virginia, and the frustrations are getting tenser in terms of put this politics aside, find the sweet spot, and go for that. And that's what I'm hoping we'll do next week.
Shelley Moore Capito, Senator from West Virginia, running for re-election this year. We appreciate you being with us this morning.
Thanks so much.